and we can argue about that over drinks. Some things that I didn't hear too much about, and some people, I was watching the Twitter stream, we didn't talk too much about enterprise and location. And I remember talking to Benioff, CEO of Salesforce.com, and said, why aren't your salespeople checking in and letting each other know where they are? And I thought that was an interesting idea, but I haven't seen anybody really try to attack that. I didn't hear too much discussed about Siri, which Apple bought earlier this year. And I just used Siri to find you guys all dinner. Siri, how many people have not seen Siri? S-I-R-I. A few people, that's interesting. It's a pretty interesting app you talk to. So I say, find me a restaurant, San Francisco, Italian, 2 people, 8 p.m. tonight. Let's see if it does that, because I sort of skipped it. It's sort of got there. Find me a restaurant, San Francisco, Italian, 2 people at 8 p.m. And it goes off and talks to web services and asks, all sorts of stuff. There's a location component here. It keeps track of where you are and where you're landing and where your favorite restaurants are, and it'll come back after a while. It'll start asking you, do you want to go to the same place you always go to? That's Apple's app, and I know some people are selling some companies to Apple, and that's going to be the next iPhone next year or the year after. Is going to have a lot of this voice recognition stuff. Google is already ahead in this world where you talk to the phone and ask it to do things. We didn't talk too much about exercise today, and I'm not going to talk about that too much. But I did run 4 marathons in high school, so I do remember doing that in my lifetime. But I'm trying to work out now, and I'm using apps like Run Meter or Cycle Meter that will keep track of my location and challenge me to do a little bit more than I did yesterday. And people who have used these apps, I was at a conference in Jackson Hole, and a guy said the best, I believe it was the Best Buy CTO who told me this, said he lost 50 pounds using these apps. So dramatically changing people's lives. I heard a big discussion of Foursquare and Gowalla. Is Gowalla dead? And I don't think so. I think Foursquare has won, but I keep checking in and I keep posting pictures here, and I like the trips. There's a lot of value that hasn't yet been communicated through these tools, and it'll be interesting over the next year to see what Foursquare and Gowalla do to bring some extra value into these things, because they're getting a little boring, to be honest. I look at tips on Foursquare, and there's not a whole lot here. In a year, that'll be a different thing. I heard Facebook is something that worries you. And I'll end with this, because let's study the cultures of Palo Alto, California. What is there to check in near the Facebook headquarters? I've been there a few times. I used to work right across the street. Well, there's the HP headquarters, and there's the Wall Street Journal printing plant, and there's Facebook, and there's a couple other things, a field, a radar dish up on Stanford. There's not a whole lot more. Now let's compare that to where Gowalla is headquartered down in Austin, Texas, and how many bars are packed into a little 2-mile strip of roadway there, and how the culture of that city is helping them build location-based services. Let's go to New York, where Foursquare is located. That has a lot more culture, a lot more places to check in, a lot more dance clubs, a lot more things to do with your phone, and that, I believe, is affecting the kinds of services that Foursquare and Gowalla are bringing out, and other companies that are in these areas. I don't think we should worry so much about Facebook. I think they might do something interesting in platform, but I don't think they'll be crushing crushing Foursquare, or crushing Gowalla, or crushing Whirl, or crushing any of us in this room anytime soon. And I keep coming back to, you know, I used to work at Microsoft. Big companies rarely do anything that's innovative and interesting, and rarely are able to see the small things in life. And right now, this industry is a small thing in life. It's a doubling penny that might be on day 15 of doubling, which might be around $300, right? The promise of this industry is in front of us. And that's what I've left this conference with. So thank you very much for a remarkable day, and thanks for networking with me on the hallway. Get out and